How much time do you spend in prayer? This is hands down the most underutilized component of our entire walk as believers. For those of you watching, I would be willing to bet that the vast majority of you don't pray for more than a few minutes a day, if that. Now, most of you probably read your Bibles, you probably study, probably go to church, probably have life groups. But what if I told you that the most important thing that you do as a believer is actually the time that you spend intimately communing with the Father? And we're not talking about for a few minutes. A few minutes is not nearly enough. Imagine it being like, I'm going to just spend 5 to 10 minutes having a conversation with my wife. Right? This is the person that I spend my whole life with. And if I only committed a few minutes each day to have a conversation with her, how would we ever be able to develop a strong relationship? The same thing is true of prayer. Prayer is the way that we intimately and specifically and intentionally commune with the Father. It's through the process of spending intentional, focused time in prayer that we develop our spiritual sensitivity to be able to know what we're hearing, to be able to interpret the things that he's saying, and to know his voice effectively. We are constantly bombarded by cell phones, by noise, by the insanity and busyness of life. Jesus himself recognized this. If you notice, Jesus frequently pulled away from the disciples as well as the crowds for long durations of time in order to commune intimately and directly with the Father. Now, this is a place where you might be inclined to say, well, didn't Jesus say not to pray with many words like the pagans do, thinking that they'll be heard? And what about the Lord's Prayer? Jesus made it simple and concise. He made it seem like we should really only pray in short bursts, as though the Father already knows. We don't need to labor the point with him. And that's absolutely right. But what he was referring to was in making petition. He wasn't referring to the relationship. You see, the relationship, that's the place where we divulge everything that is in our soul to the Father. It's the place where we go to him with our wants and needs, not as the source of provision, even though he is, but rather to allow him to reveal to us what the source of these desires are. It's the place where we go to him with the things that are in our heart and the things that are in our soul, with the emotions that we have, the hurt feelings that we have, sometimes as a result of something that he's done. It's in that place of communion and intimacy that we get to know the Father, and also that we get to know ourselves. I think that might be one of the most commonly missed things in prayer, is that the process of prayer allows the Lord to reveal us to us, because who knows us better than the Father? Paul says that it is the spirit of a man that searches out the deep things that nobody else can know, just as it is the spirit of the Father that searches out the deep things in the Father. In the same way, it's in that time of intimacy and prayer that the Lord reveals to us the things that are in us. He teaches us about ourselves. And the better we understand ourselves, the more effective we can be in life. You see, prayer isn't just about getting to know him. It's about him teaching us who he made us to be. And these are just one of the multitude of things that are accomplished in these times of prayer. But if we're only praying for a few minutes a day, there's not even enough time to get into a place of intimacy, to get into a place of depth. You can't get to a deep conversation in 5 minutes. Deep conversations take hours. Now, I'm not saying you have to pray for 3, 4, 5 hours every single day, but what I am saying is that if you're not prioritizing prayer to the extent that you're spending at least an hour, if not every day, at least every other day, if you're not at least spending an hour getting into that place of deep intimacy, deep focused time with the Lord, I promise you, you are missing out on the richness and the depth that is available to you as a believer. Okay, so what does this look like practically? Because I know some of you are saying, well, I sat in my closet for an hour and nothing happened. I didn't even hear anything, right? Well, it's like anything else. You have to remember, you're trying to learn how to hear with your spiritual ears. And just like learning how to hear with your regular ears are always hearing, but the ability to interpret what you're hearing, to be able to make meaning from what you're hearing, that takes practice, that takes time. Same is true of your spiritual ears. It takes time to develop them, to understand what it is that you're hearing. You see, your spirit is always hearing from God, but your ability to understand and interpret what you're hearing, that's something different. That takes time. Just like intimacy in a relationship, it takes time to come to that place where when you sit down with the person that you're close to, you have that immediate connection. Think about like that friend that you've known for 20 years. You guys can walk into a room and have not talked for 6 or 8 months and immediately reconnect as if nothing ever happened. The same thing is true with the Lord, but that took years and years and years to develop. It works the same way in a relationship with God. And so pulling away in that private time, it may be that for the first month, maybe even the first year, you don't really hear much back. It's mostly just you talking, or maybe just you listening and not really hearing anything. And that's okay, because it's in that place of intimacy, of continuously going to the place with the intent to meet with the Father. And I promise you, if you continuously go to that place, it says that those who seek find, those who knock, it will be open to. If you continuously pursue the Lord, if you continuously show up at His court, requesting His presence, I promise you, He will meet you there. And it may not happen as quickly as you like, and it may not happen in the booming voice or some magical display of power that you might be looking for. But what you will find, and I promise you this, you will find that at some point He will show up. At some point He will meet you there in that quiet, still place. And it will be undeniable, and you will know what you've connected to. And that will begin a beautiful journey of walking with the Lord. And then you will come to a place where you can spend hours in His presence and literally wish that you had hours every single day to be able to spend with Him, and you won't want to leave your prayer closet. That's the place that it gets to with time and with the development of relationship. So again, I want to make sure I'm being clear. I'm not prescribing something religious. I'm not trying to tell you that there's a rule here. Okay, this isn't about rules. This isn't about religion. It's not about tradition or practice. What I'm sharing with you is that intimacy with the Lord requires you to carve out intimate time and space, and it requires that you put more than a few minutes into it each day. So just make the time and go meet Him there if you're not already doing it. And again, I would say an hour should be your starting point. Now if you have to build up to it, if you have to start at 30 minutes and then build up to an hour, that's totally fine. But understand that the goal is you want to get to the place where you can spend at least an hour. Think of it just like meeting with a friend, somebody who you really care about. You don't go to coffee with somebody for 30 minutes. When you go out to have coffee with someone, you go to spend time with a person, you expect to spend an hour or two. That's a normal expectation for a deep relationship. And so we should think of it the same way with God. When we go to meet and commune with Him specifically, we should expect to spend an hour or two, because we're meeting with the Most High. We're meeting with the Creator of the universe, the one who holds all the secrets of not just the universe, but the most innermost secrets of ourselves, the things that we don't even know about ourselves. He holds all of those secrets. Why would we not want to spend as much specific, focused, and intimate time with Him as we possibly can? And so, with that, I just want to encourage you. Carve out the time. Commit to an hour every 3 days. Start there, right? Build up to an hour a day. You don't have to jump all in right out of the gate, right? But make the commitment that you're at least going to spend 1 hour every few days, specifically focused with the Lord, everything turned off, just you and God, and see what happens.